Welcome to another video by Pharos Technology. Today we want to advance the topic of subroutines and functions. Get a little bit deeper than we did last time, so let's get started. A typical subroutine or function will look similar to this. It has various sections in it. Some are sections because of convention, others are mandatory. The first one is that the sub or function declaration needs to be your first statement. It's either going to be a private sub or a public sub or public function, private function. It's going to be declared as your very first item. The next section is your declarations area where you declare your variables. This is where you're going to just say what variable it is and what kind of a variable it's going to be, what data type will be supported by that particular variable. The next section is where you have all your statements. This is where the work gets done. So now that you've got all your variables dimensioned, here's where you're going to tell the variables what their values are and what work they need to do. It's going to be a place for you to get the job done that was originally called for either the sub or the function. In this case, it's just a subroutine, so we're not returning anything other than information to the immediate window in this debug.print command. The last and one of the most important statements is the terminator. It'll either be end sub or end function. That lets the program know that it can return use back to the form or whatever entity called it. It'll return the focus back to them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's create a subroutine real quick. This is the statements section of what our subroutine will look like. First off, it's going to say, I want the text customer ID to have the focus. So the first statement, it's going to say, put the focus in there. Now the reason is because I want to read the data from that, and this is going to be put in the after update event of the form that has that text customer ID on it. So what it is going to do is it's going to say, okay, make sure the focus is there. And after it gets updated, I want to know what the value of it is. This right here. What is the value? If the value is not null, then I'm going to say, find the record that matches this customer ID. So it's going to find the record for this customer ID, and then it's going to set the focus into the invoice date for that particular customer. In this case, because there's probably several invoices by that customer, it will always go to the first invoice that it finds and then displays that particular invoice. So let's see how we implement that, okay? So we're going to come down here first and open up form sales, put it in design view here, and that Unbound text box right at the top is our object. And we're going to put that code in the after update section. We're going to click the ellipse, click on code builder. And in code builder, it's already put the fact that it's going to be an after update module in the class form sales. And we're going to put our code in here. We're going to copy it over and paste it in there. And so there's the code that I just talked about. It's between the private sub and end sub. So we have our start and our terminator. And we're going to close this now after we save it. And let's go see how it works. We'll put this in form view. And we can go click the down arrow here, choose a customer. And what will happen is it'll immediately change all the data there to the first invoice that it finds. And you can see that the focus is set on the invoice date. And it has all the information for that customer. Okay. Well, very good. Next, we're going to learn about calling a function. Now, a function, here's the whole function. And this function right here is going to calculate the extended price on an invoice, okay? So it has a line item on an invoice, and that line item is going to have an extended price on it. We're going to set up the calc extended price as a currency, and that function is going to accept three variables: a long, a currency for C price, and a double for D discount here. So we have three variables here, 1, 2, and 3. And the variable, the amount, what it's going to return is going to be a variable data type called currency. Okay? So a currency is going to be returned when we call this. We're going to dimension C extended price as a currency. We're going to then do some math. We're going to take the extended price. C extended price is going to equal the quantity times price. So this one quantity times this C price, it's going to calculate that extended price first, and then it's going to calculate extended price times the discount, 1 minus the discount amount. The discount amount will be like 5%, 0.05, that type of thing. And so it will then calculate that and put it in the value calc extended price, which is the name of the variable up here that's set as a currency. So what happens is when the function ends, calc extended price will have that value, and that value then will be retrieved by the form after the work has been done. So let's go see how we put it together here. First thing we're going to do is go to the database tools, and we're going to open up the code window and create that function. So we're going to scroll down to the bottom. We're going to put it in mod sales functions. So we're going to highlight mod sales functions, double click on it. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom and put our function at the bottom. So we'll paste it in there because I already have it typed off to the side. And there's what I shared with you in the previous screen. So there is the function. And now what we're going to do then is go ahead and save this and then close it. Okay, now what we want to do is use the immediate window to test the function. Now, in the immediate window, we can put a question mark and then put the name of the function and give it the parameters manually that it needs in order to spit out an answer for us. So we're going to say, we're going to call calc extended price. We're going to give it a 5 for the quantity, a 3.5 for the cost, and a 0.05 for the discount. Okay, we'll take and we'll paste that into the immediate window. And in doing that, it comes up immediately when we hit enter with 16.625. Well, let's validate that and make sure that it calculated correctly. And so we're going to go ahead and pull up the calculator here. And in pulling up the calculator, we can then duplicate the formula over here. So we're going to take 5 times 350. Okay, 1750, and we're going to put that in memory. And then we'll take and calculate 1 minus the 0.05 discount that we sent to it. And then we're going to times that times what we had in memory, and we hit equals, and good. We came up with the same number. So in that way, we were able to validate that the form is reacting correctly. Now let's go use that. And so what we'll do is we'll put this function as the control source for a field in form sales. To call it, we're going to use just the equal sign and then the name of the function. Then we're going to pass it the 3 variables, just like we did in the immediate window, only the 3 variables are actually going to come from our form in this case. So the form has a field in it, text box called text quantity, text price, and text discount %. Now, you might be asking about this NZ here. Now, NZ is a trick you can use so that if this field has a null value in it, it will then slip a 0 in that field. So it'll check for a non-null value here, and it'll give it a 0 if it's null. And that prevents you from having a lot of errors that are regarding just bad data. Somebody didn't fill in a quantity, or there was no price in the database behind it that they pulled. If that ends up being the case, or they didn't even fill in the discount and just left it null instead of putting 0 for the discount. So let's go take a look and see how that does. We're going to work with our form sales here. We'll put that in design view again. And what we have down here is we have the retail price that I'm pointing to there. Okay, we have the quantity there, text quantity, and we have the discount % right there, okay? So those are the 3 fields that we're going to pass to it in our formula. And so now what we want to do is go to the Data tab, and in doing that, we then paste our field, our formula, into the control source. So we'll click the ellipse there. We get the expression builder, and now we can paste our formula in there, or actually our function call in there. And when we click OK, it saves it there. And let's go look at the form view and see if that works for us, okay? And here we go. Now we can see that the amount $24.99 is calculated from the 1 times the $24.99. No discount percent. We get the $24.99 extended price. So it appears to have worked in all 3 cases that we see on the screen there. And that is good. We're ready to go. So subroutines are called from events like button clicks on open, after update. Functions are also called by some events. You can call subroutines or functions from other subroutines or functions. They can be control sources for unbound text boxes. So you can put a value in there so that the customer can see what's going on with their data. And there's a lot of other examples that we'll use throughout this video selection. So if you enjoyed what you got here and found it useful, hit that like button if you would, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so that you can see even more of the videos that we put out on a continuing basis. Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks.